libel campaigns, everything. All he did, he told the truth. He defended the constitutional rights of suspects and FBI personnel, and he reported crimes being committed by FBI agents. And, you know, for that they forced him out of the FBI. They threatened to put him into a mental hospital. They impugned his sanity. This is the way it works.
Sure.
And it's very, very, I don't even know the word. It's for me, it's devastating to even have to think about these kind of things. Well, and yet we're faced with them every day.
I've done some shows recently in 2008 with a woman, a mother, a wife in Minnesota who's trying to fight the machinery. Interesting story about Mary Hartman, that's her real name, up Minnesota way, about what she found out about a local wildlife refuge. There's a family in Georgia, the Rice family, and they have a number of websites devoted to what they've been doing, fighting the federal machinery and the judiciary. There's a gentleman that spoke to me who lives up in Alaska, who I've asked to come on, who's fighting up there. And they're right, they have their ducks in a row, and yet the machinery still tilts against them.
Of course.
And there comes a time, especially with the Rices, where it's, I don't know, do you pass the point where there's a victory because you made your point, you've showed the corruption, but there's nothing going to be done about it, and at what point do you say, listen, we got one life to live here?
Yeah.
You know, and I understand. So, I mean, there's a point, and I had a discussion with Mary last night, and that was, you can only do so much, and then actually, it reminds me of the line from Chinatown with Jack Nicholson at the very end because of all the bizarre stuff that was going on in that movie, which in fact is based on a situation that took place in Los Angeles with water rights. And you remember the guy said to him, Jake, walk away. It's Chinatown.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Keith? I understand that. And I can tell you that just over all this time that I've been going through this and in this battle with them against these evildoers, I do believe you have to, in order to keep your life, you know, to a point so that you can function. You know, you can't focus every minute. You can't be obsessive and focus every minute on, oh, I've got to fight these SOBs and, you know.
Right.
I mean, you've got to do something. It's like, let me give you a quote here. It's from Ephesians. Do not participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but instead expose them. You know, like, if you use whatever energy that you have and time that you have, and you do things in a smart way, you know, you're methodical, and you take the time, and you do as much as you can, there comes a time when you have to take a break, you know.
Right.
I mean, for me, it's nature. I love nature, and I live near the ocean, so I'll go for a walk by the beach, or I love the mountains, too. Or just, you know, spend time if you have animals like pets, children, pets, anybody that you love, you know, so you don't lose sight of what life is supposed to be about. You know, life is not supposed to be what these government SOBs decide that it's going to be for us. That's not what life is. That's not what God has in mind for His children, you know? So,
sure.
So I think that there has to be at least some
balance?
Yeah, a balance of knowing when it's time to walk away, at least from a particular situation, you know, because sometimes you expend everything you have and you end up drained and you have nothing. And then you're of real no use to anybody at that point, you know, if you allow what happens because of being targeted or the injustices, the oppression, all of that, if you allow that to actually destroy you on a spiritual level, that's very bad. You know, you have to get beyond that.
Now, I don't say that I take this in resignation, but I do realize you can do so much. And you said, and you quoted Ephesians, and it said expose.
Yes.
Now, expose means to shed light on,
Yes.
to make known, but it
That's
doesn't
what we're
say.
doing right here.
But here's the point, and this is what I think people are perhaps getting upset with me, but I'm just being practical and saying you can expose it, you can shed light on it, you can tell people about it, but don't ever think in this system, which is corrupt, that you're ever going to bring them to quote, justice, which I don't think, happens anymore.
Well, Keith, I couldn't agree more, because I can tell you that in all this time, okay, in all this time when I've been doing my investigations and doing my exposés and actually going out going after the bad guys, and I've done a lot of that too. Yeah, over a course of many years, there have been times when, okay, we just had somebody on the line there. You hear that?
You didn't lean on a button, did you?
No. This is normal. The idiots are on the line. Anyway.
Hi.
Yeah. So as I was saying before, I was so rudely derailed. Yeah, I've put some of these people out of business. I have. But was there ever really justice? No. In certain cases, I forced them to stop, and unfortunately, in order for me to force them to stop, I had to expend a tremendous amount of time and energy and money. And basically, the bottom line is they knew at that point, if we don't stop, we're dead meat, okay? Or if we don't stop, we're in jail. And they stopped. But, and was it worth it? Yes. Yes, because they were persecuting innocent people, including members of my family. But I find also that just the simple act of exposing them, if you keep it up, and people keep hearing the same names over and over, and they start to even get curious, like, who is this person, so-and-so? Why am I reading all this stuff? And then they get interested, like, I'm going to do my own research, and the next thing you know, they'll boycott that person. They'll realize, yeah, this person is a criminal. I'm going to boycott that person, or I'm going to disassociate myself from that person. Or I myself have enough information now to expose this person. And eventually, it builds up. It's like critical mass. And eventually, the bad guy is forced to be out of business because there's nothing feeding the evil that they're doing. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Now, here's my take. You tell me what you think. What I sense, and that's all I can tell you, what I sense, given the fact, actually, that doing the show and starting this back in 2002 started to make me realize, like I should have needed a reminder, but nevertheless, I understood how valid and appropriate Scripture is, because we're seeing something going on now that I'm not saying necessarily we'll see the trib, we might, but that I realize that the NWO, the New World Order, is nothing other than I see as Satan's prophesied, and I'll say attempt to take over the earth.
Oh, yeah, Keith, I absolutely agree with you. And as a matter of fact, I listened to the show that you did with Charles Giuliani, and Charles is one of my absolute favorites in terms of a talk show host and a writer.
Good guy, too, yeah.
He had a lot of insights that he gave on your show. I'd encourage everybody to listen to that show. I think it was January 14th, if I'm not mistaken. But he did talk about that very topic. He talked about Revelation, and he's very knowledgeable. And I agree with what you just said. There's no doubt in my mind anyway. I'm a Christian, but you don't have to be a Christian to get the truth by reading the Bible. No. Probably if you do get the truth by reading the Bible, you might become a Christian, but you don't have to be a Christian to see the truth.
My feeling is, and I don't know why I'm thinking about all these luminaries from the world of entertainment. I'm just talking about Chinatown, but Dylan